Everyone, Reyan and Mark here, and welcome to another brand new, well, not another, but just a brand new episode of BBQ Brews Show. How you going, mate?
Oh, great. It's good to be back. Another new season for us. I've lost count where we're at, but it seems like I'm going to go 5.
Yeah, let's say season 5. It's always the peak one.
Yeah.
The cliffhangers happen in season 5. But, mate, we've got an amazing episode lined up for you guys. Steve Foye, the voice of Meatstock, coming on the show today to talk about, I guess, his involvement in Meatstock, all the Meatstocks, everything Meatstock. Let's just say Meatstock a few more times, and what to look forward in 2023. So really looking forward to getting Steve on. And look, it's probably a great first guest too, because Mark, you and I guess we've been off the radar for a little bit, doing some doing a lot of things, predominantly traveling around Australia, hitting all the Meatstocks, which is so much fun, mate. How much did you
Well, the
enjoy
great
that?
thing was from that as well was because we were traveling all over Australia, we were getting people we sort of chatted to online that we've never met in person coming up to us at, Meatstock. The funny thing was I'd met some people from Melbourne in Toowoomba Meatstock and things like that as well. So people were traveling to go to different Meatstocks around Australia. So it was really great to sort of meet these people. And sometimes it was a bit shocking where someone would come and tap you on the shoulder and say hi to you. I'm like, oh, I don't know who you are. And they go, but I'm this tag. Oh, I know you exactly who you are. It's great. And have a good chat and catch up. But they were amazing events. And we're really lucky just to be part of it, really.
No, that's it, mate. I must admit, and I think we all had I think end of Sydney, everyone had a little bit of sadness come through and just felt like, oh man, it's so far away. And then watching Churrascada and watching Meatstock Brazil from a distance, you're like, just
how
want to be there.
But Brazil was amazing.
Churrascada was next level, mate. Next level. And look, always looking forward to next year. Next year's date's already announced. I can't wait to get more information from Steve on that. But I guess, mate, before we get going, huge thanks to our sponsors for the show, which is Brewery Colo. We've got a couple of beers we're drinking today. So I'm drinking the Ireland. Oh, you're drinking the beers?
I'll go on the classic, one of my favorites, but it's got a new label. So I can probably tell it's nice and shiny now. It's kind of cool.
Nice and shiny.
Now, last time I opened this one, I destroyed my keyboard. So I'm going to open it over the side here because I always seem to explode all over myself. Oh, I didn't this time. Look at that. Beautiful. Cheers.
Awesome, mate. Cheers, buddy. Oh, the red ale.
Still amazing.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Hang on, I'm just going to go back again. Sorry, it was good.
Awesome, mate. And our second sponsor is the Rub Society, who come on board as well. Greg, bunch of lads out of Adelaide. Obviously, rubsociety.com.au, where you can get all the rubs in one place and get delivered to your door, which is fantastic. And this week I've got my rub of the week, mate, which I'm going to go with Sweet Bones and Butts by Angus and Oink. Got to work out how my camera works. There you go. Which is great on ribs. You might know I do like ribs. How about you, Mark?
I'm going to go one I'm really keen to try, and it's called Firecracker. So just for those who haven't tried it, just have a crack. I've heard good things, but I'm definitely keen to give this one a go on absolutely everything.
Fantastic, mate. And if you use RFTRS on checkout, you get 10% off. So that's great. All right. So Luke, thanks heaps for having to come to us board. Like, let's get the guest in. Steve, who's hidden backstage, smiling politely at the camera, which we can see. So as everyone knows, Steve Foye, Voice of Meatstock, has been there on day one on the stage, working so hard. But then what you don't see is all the behind the scenes work. So really look forward to getting on. So let me. Without jabbering any much more, I'll just get Steve.
And just for those watching, this is a new platform for us. We can see all your chats and comments. So please, if you've got questions for Steve, throw them in there as well, and we'll try and get to them.
I can't see them, but you can see them. Hey, boys, how you doing?
Hey,
great.
Excellent. I love the way you start the show, so I'm just going to join you there. And,
what are you drinking?
That's it. What do you got there?
I've got this. I've never tried it before. It's called Caribbean Fog. I just found it down at the local bottle shop. Some little bit of a pale ale, bit of a fruity pale ale, and I'm a bit of a drink out of a glass kind of a guy as well. So it's going to
nothing wrong with that.
Make a decent ice cream head out of that thing and see how we go.
Cheers,
cheers, boys.
Cheers.
That's the way to start a show.
That's it, mate. That's it.
So yeah, thanks so much for having me, fellas.
That's all right. Now.
To be here.
So, Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, you've done a lot of things with Meatstock. What's your sort of role there, and how did you get started?
Mate, to be honest, I started. It was basically just as EMC, as a compere. My wife used to work at she was the sales and marketing manager of the Ridges Hotel in Port Macquarie, and so to get a free feed, I'd say, "Hey, do you need an MC for your events?" And I've done a bit of acting and stuff, and a bit of things in the past. So I used to go along and MC those events, and just had a great time. As a result, we were and have been great mates with Jay Beaumont and his lovely wife Louise for quite some years. And he said, "Hey, look, we're looking for someone for the it was the barbecue. What was the? Oh, I can't remember. There was a barbecue festival that we used to have in Port Macquarie down on the beach.
Port Mac.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he said, "Why don't you come along and do the awards for us at one time?" And that turned into the next year. I was down in Melbourne and Sydney for the festivals, running my mouth off in front of big audiences, which is my want.
and mate, you definitely do really well on the stage, and I must admit it was great watching you and I guess learning from you a little bit as well.
Thank you.
But I mean, just taking a few steps back, how did Meatstock come to be? Like, how did the first one 7 years ago? How did that come about?
Yeah, pretty much. The festival in Port Macquarie outgrew itself. It got to a point where Jay and Simon, obviously Simon Luke, the co-promoter, they realised that it had a lot more legs than just this, a competition in a caravan park, essentially, which is what it was. And then we'd have a live stage outside with the judging and a bit of music. But they just realised that it had a much more, it had a much bigger capacity. And Jay had done a lot of travel through the US and found that the barbecue movement obviously over there was doing such amazing things. Adam Roberts was pretty heavily involved back in those days as well. So the two of them did a nice trip around, went to all the classic places, came back and said, "Look, this is starting to really get a roll on here in Australia. There's something we can grab hold of." Simon had his background in Festival of the Sun, which he's been running for years and years. Jay had this barbecue connection. The two of them brought it all together and created Meatstock as you see it today.
No, it's fantastic.
So what was it like sort of working so closely with Jay and Simon to sort of create this amazing sort of what Meatstock is?
What was it like? Oh man, it's always exciting. It's funny, most of the really important decisions get made at the moment over a little balcony in our office. There's like, "Simon!" And Simon pops his head up, or Jay pops his head down, and they nut things out for a long time. I sit there sort of pretending to do work while I'm actually just listening to them, taking notes, because you pick up a few things along the way and then sort of roll with those ideas, and that's like, I guess, what makes it kind of happen. But it's fantastic. The family, the Meatstock family is a really, really healthy, good one. We've all got great relationships with each other. It's a very tight-knit unit. So it's great fun. Great fun.
But you could feel that too. Like, it was sort of our first really year being involved in it, but you felt the family sort of atmosphere of everyone involved.
Yeah.
Everyone was just wanting to help and do the best they could and put on the best event.
Exactly. Like all the guys from the music stage area to the backstage to catering to everyone, they all gel together and have done for years so well. It really is a very tight-knit little family. It's great.
That's all right. Look, I mean, this is probably more of my interest than anything else, but can you take us behind the scenes? Like, how far outside? Because it's such a big event, and obviously it seems to keep getting bigger and bigger. And how far outside the event do you start planning? You mentioned backstage you were, you had the lulls after Sydney. But then when you go like, "All right, guys, break's over. It's time to go for 2023."
Yeah. Literally, we got back from Sydney in May. Everyone just sat down, had a nice deep breath, and just let things roll for 5 minutes. As I mentioned before, boys, I have my finger in a couple of different pies. So I do a bit of distribution for a local lifestyle magazine. We're putting together a cookbook at the moment. So that luckily that kept us busy for a little bit until literally, I don't know, it was about probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. Inquiries started coming in. It's like, "I want to be at the next Sydney show." We're getting expo inquiries coming left, right, and centre. And yeah, exactly. We've got a massive list. So I've been in touch over the past couple of weeks, just touching base, reaching out to all of the previous sponsors, and pretty much everyone's just, yep, lock us in, roll us over, 2023 season, here we come. So it really does start now. We put the sponsors in place, we put all of the ideas and the marketing in place from this moment. September, I guess, is the time when that really all starts to really take off.
I find it interesting you sort of mentioned.
There you go.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say with the with the marketing, Steve. It's interesting that it's so much is done within just a bunch of Facebook groups, isn't it? Like I say, a bunch of Facebook groups, like it's something small, but it's amazing how like you don't see it in mainstream. You don't see it on ads on popping up through Google searches, things like that. But it sort of naturally flows through the community, but then also on top of that sells out.
Yep. It's credit where credit's due. Jay Beaumont and social media have a very, very special connection.
Yeah.
That he gets that beast better than anyone I know. And he spends a lot of time, not only creating content, but looking at content. But he does spend a lot of time really getting that right, and make sure that if you got to feed the beast. If you're not feeding it, it's not going to give you anything back. So he really does spend a lot of time doing that in the background. And as you mentioned, he's just got back from his second trip to Brazil in the space of a month. But on the plane on the way back, he's editing videos that we did, just before he left. For I don't know if you saw the dragon ribs one that we popped up.
Just recently. With jalapenos on it.
Yeah, it's the one.
Oh, mate, that was so good.
That was done. We did a series for the Butcher's Cellar Wines, and we're going to release one of those, or Jay's going to release one of those once a week for the next few weeks. And wait till you see there's more coming. It just gets better and better.
Unreal.
But that whole social media thing, he was looking at figures today, and the reach that Meatstock social media pages has had for the festivals in 2022 is just phenomenal. I'll get him to release some figures and just give you guys an idea.
That'd be unreal. Yeah.
It's great.
That's it. When you got so many people are battling against the beast. You've got Jay Beaumont riding it like on a surfboard.
Oh man, that's kind of why we incorporated the rodeo, the PBR element, so that Jay could just be that guy up the woo. I got this, baby. I got this.
Oh mate, unreal.
Yeah.
So touching on that, like the rodeo and all the different attractions and events that you have on the day, how do you sort of manage and bring all those together?
It's not as hard as it seems. All of those things, they have their own team. Essentially, you just give them the right opportunity in the right space, like with the PBR and with the Strongman. They were both brand new things to Meatstock this year, and both had such amazing attendance. It was hard in Toowoomba to figure out whether people were just coming for the rodeo or whether they're there for Meatstock but the Strongman and everything, that like it all fits so hand in hand. That they're just complementing each other. So to have those, and this year, that we're looking at hopefully having those sort of events at all three Meatstocks as well. Which
really?
Hey, you didn't hear that?
Is that an exclusive? Hang on.
It's not going live or anything, is it? This is
no. No one watches it.
You can edit that.
No,
but it's looking great. It's looking great.
I'm super excited. We'll dig into a little bit. We'll interrogate you a little bit more in 2023, a little bit later in the show. But now, how has the stage? Obviously, you go from 11 a.m. and you're there till awards are handed out at 6:37 p.m. Sometimes later. How has the stage changed over the last 7 years? Like obviously as the show has grown, as the competitions grow, the ABA comp, the SCA comp, how's all that is changed dramatically, or is it just basically multiplied?
I think we've got the format right. The guys, Brad Hurl and his team from Diverse Audio, they just they know what we want, and they just give us exactly what we ask for every time. You know, how many handhelds, how many headsets, all that sort of stuff. Like, you know, they know exactly what they want. They've got those massive screens. They've got the beautiful big stage and all the lighting that comes along with it. And they literally just put it on a truck and bring it to the next venue. It's like that stage, it's always meant to have that really big impact. So you come in that indoor expo, you wander around for a second, and then, you know, you said 11 o'clock I start, but, you know, typically I get out there a little bit earlier and kind of just do a little bit of a, come on, this is what's happening.
Oh, the prep up. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of, you know, spruiking on the side. But that's, you know, nothing compared to when that, you know, when that first buzzer hits and off you run. As you saw, there's not a break from start to finish. It's just, it goes flat out.
No, that's it.
Which is great, because that's, you know, keeps that energy rolling. And a couple of these towards the end of the day always just keeps the throat just limbered just enough.
I must
Well,
admit,
it's good to be hydrated.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. And on top of that, just how well you handle it too, man. Like, you get to six that in your energy, especially doing the awards and things like, where, you know, it would be so easy to taper down and go, like, you just keep it up there.
That's the thing that has to be the
so
most.
Well.
If you can't get that bit, you may as well not bother. It's like building to a crescendo, because I don't have to think to myself, okay, we've got awards after this, I need to do a slow build. It just comes. I get so freaking excited when I see all those teams wander in and all the butchers are there doing their thing. Once they arrive, like, I know we've had the crowd in there all day watching the heats and watching the comps, but it's different when they get there. They're the ones that are going to be winning the prizes, and I want them to make sure that they feel as important and special as possible. I'm not going to give them the winner is, you know, it's just not in my nature. So that's something that I really love, getting to that point. And speaking of having that, you know, that last minute in Sydney, and I was like, my throat was dead. I was at the end. And I looked at Jay at one point, and he's standing over there with the camera, and I went, I totally lost it. Like, it just squeaked out. And I was trying to call someone's name, and it just didn't happen. But found out at that point I already had COVID. I was locked in, locked and loaded. Yeah.
Oh, right. We talked about that before, where that selfie we got at the end of Sydney, like you were.
Oh, yeah.
I dodged a bullet there.
I was double red line. It was like a volcano. Yeah.
Oh, mate, it's what a way to end it, right?
Exactly.
What are your most memorable moments, mate? Obviously, you know, you had different guests, you know, different segments, different pit masters. What stands out? You go, like, man, those were just amazing.
I have to say, Big Mo, he's just his aura and his authority over a crowd. He commands presence by his sheer size, but he's also a really decent bloke. Like, he's just such a lovely guy, and he's got time for everybody. Someone comes along and wants a photo. Yeah, absolutely. He'll switch hats with guys. He'll do all that sort of stuff. So Big Mo has been a really cool, guy to get to know. I really, really like and admire Jess Pryles as well, and I think you said Jess is coming up in the. You know, I'm glad you got her up.
Yeah, a couple of weeks away. Yeah.
Jess is lovely. She's amazing at what she does, and she's really created a very, very strong brand for herself and done really good things. But all of Tuffy's the nicest guy in the industry.
How nice is Tuffy?
Oh, yeah. Just does my head in. How can you be such a decent human being? You know, I wonder if he ever gets
so competitive.
Yeah,
super competitive, right?
and so successful as well. He's insane. So those guys, like they're probably, and I think probably my very first graffiti cannon in Auckland when Jay sorted out these. It just, like, those things when they went boom, it only happened once because the cleaners said, "That's it. We are never doing graffiti cannons again.
Hang on. What's the graffiti cannon?
What
what happens there?
not graffiti. What do you call it?
Confetti.
Tinsel cannon.
Oh,
confetti cannon. Yeah.
I'm
Graffiti.
picturing
They're
spray
Stylux.
paint. Just
Stylux
I was
sends
waiting
up
for
these
paint to
graffiti
go everywhere.
cannons.
What size been put
cannons
out of work? You've got a graffiti
But yeah,
cannon.
poof, these things they exploded, and confetti, like a ton of confetti, went up in the air in Auckland. It was epic.
That's unreal.
Graffiti cannon.
The Beard and Mo Wars is a spectacle of the event, I think. How much fun is it? And I just seeing you again take it each step up and up and up. And there's always some character in there with a keg painted on their belly.
Some knucklehead. That was one of the
I
funniest.
absolutely love this segment.
Toowoomba was my favorite Beard and Mo Wars ever. The guys, the mullets, the guy with the keg. Oh man, they were so
the little kid with the mullet, the 5-year-old
kid.
Yeah.
He turned up in a promo video just recently. It was that was awesome. And and the other two, Sydney and Melbourne also had fantastic. But introducing the hairy chest and the dad bod, I don't know if you saw it. Louise Beaumont gave one of the guys in the hairy chest competition a score of 100 out of 10 at one point. She went, that one, he's the winner.
Oh, mate. And look, finding contestants for those, especially dad bod and hairy chest, having to go up to people and go like, hey, you'd be great in dad bod.
I have to commend you for that job because it's not easy to tell someone that they need to get up there and you got to take your shirt off in front of 2,000 people. Yeah. It's not easy.
And the camera's on you. Oh, mate.
Yeah.
It was good fun though. And the ones that really, and it always interested me when people turned up and they were ready for it. They're like, yes, I'm here for the Mo Wars. I'm here for the Beard Wars. And they're like,
the rums.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
we did learn that Mo's aren't in style in New South Wales. That's what we learned.
No, that's right.
Struggle town there.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's something we really need to work on is getting that promotion out there amongst the barbershop community or something. All right. Work on that. Work on it.
That's it.
And the other thing I loved just nearly as much as that was the Butchers Wars. Because for me, I've never seen anything like that at all. It was like amazing to watch what they were doing. So how did that come about?
Oh, that was just an idea that the guys had. Shannon Walker has had a lot to do with that. Hey, cheers, Shannon. See you, buddy.
Cheers.
He's very instrumental in getting the whole competition together. I remember the first time when Jay asked me to come down and do the MC at Meatstock Melbourne, and he said, now there's this competition, it's called the Butcher Wars, and thousands of people come in and they watch butchers cut up meat on stage. It just, like you say, Mark, it didn't make sense to me that this was going to happen. But then all of a sudden the crowd's there and we had Mexican waves going on and we're throwing prizes out and they were absolutely screaming and cheering. So that, back to that, how do you keep the energy level up? That is what really, that intense level of energy coming from the crowd, that boosts you so well. Yeah. But what a comp. Who'd have thought? I
was shocked as well. It was amazing, though. Some of the stuff they were doing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's just, and I reckon, like you said, the crowd that turns up for that, it's probably the crowded the stage gets, or the auditorium gets. It's unreal how many people want to watch. Even in Toowoomba, you couldn't walk past the stage.
No, I know.
It was people are sitting, and then it's like 4 or 5 people.
There's no gap. Yeah.
There's no gap.
The ones that I love the ones that walk past and they look and they go, what the hell?
That's half a cow.
Yeah. And then they're not quite sure what they're watching, but all of a sudden they're just stuck. And there's the big screen and the butcher cams going on, all that sort of stuff. It's it really is incredible how well watched and how well the audience participates as well.
And also Shannon Walker, you mentioned before, the amount of energy he brings to those events. Shannon.
Yeah, he helps a lot.
Oh, the amount of energy he brings into that is unreal, and obviously the passion for. He's obviously now. When's he off to the States? He's managing the Australian butcher team.
September,
Going to
yeah.
yeah, it's next
Yeah.
month. Yeah.
Yep.
That's unreal.
Yep. So, wish them all the very best of luck, guys. Go hard, represent, go strong. They're a really, really good bunch of butchers, and they've all every single one of them has been in the butcher wars in the past. They're really, really at the top of their game. Those guys are going to kill it over there, I think.
I just loved how Shannon went all day long. And then at night time, when the bands are on the main stage, somehow Shannon's up with the band, pretty much rocking to the side while the band's rocking out. He's always in the right spot.
What about in Toowoomba? He got hold of Jay's camera and ended up in the media pit in front of the crowd barriers. He didn't even have it turned on. He's just going along like doing it.
In Sydney, he had a broken camera, apparently.
Yeah, with a strap around his neck with this broken camera. God.
Oh, I'm like, what? He's like, take a photo. I'm like, oh my God. He's a pisser. He's unreal.
Classic.
Meatstock came back after 2 years of hibernation this year. Sorry. Take us back, mate. What was it like coming back and sort of just, Melbourne? There was so much nervous energy. I remember coming there on the Thursday or the Friday. I can't remember which day it was, and it was this kind of like, I just could feel it. It was excitement with the nerves, and then it just sort of, the later the day got, it seems like the more excited people got. But what was it like? I mean, coming back and then going like, all right, we've got to stay safe for Toowoomba and then Sydney. Talk us through that.
Well, we did have a plan because, no one wanted to lose, we didn't want to leave a man behind. We all stayed in separate residences as far as our accommodation was concerned. We tried to keep the team groups limited so that we weren't all, going out for dinner at the same place or hanging out all the time at the same place, in case if one of us got it, then the rest of us went down. Turns out I don't think anybody ended up with COVID on the way back. But Melbourne 2020 was, for all of us, was like, okay, so to set the scene, in 2020, on the Friday night, it was a freezing cold afternoon. This mad wind came howling in from the main gates down at the bottom of the pit yards there. And we're bumping teams in. They're starting to come in. We've got all the expos starting to come in on a Friday afternoon, and they're getting themselves set. Weber's over there. They've done their massive stall. They've done all the things. And about probably a dozen or so teams had bumped in. And all of a sudden we get comms over the radio. It looks as though we're going to be postponing the event's been called off because this COVID thing has got serious, and we're standing there in these jackets in the freezing cold wind, and there's a line of all the way out past all of the TV studios and everything. There's this line of cars and vans and trucks with smokers on the back trying to get in to bump in, and none of them had really knew what was going on. And so me and Rosie are just saying, sorry, you got to go. We can't let you in. It's been called off. And ScoMo made the announcement that it was not going to happen. Then, after we just finished turning the last of the queue around, he said, oh, hang on a second. Let's make it Monday. Let's not call everything off until Monday. And, this is like 2 or 3 hours later. So we just sent everybody home, and they're saying, what do we do? Can we call them, tell them to come back? What do we do? What do we do? We really had to make the choice. And Simon and Jay made the very, very tough decision to go with it. So this is all of us having this, these are the guys that have got their money on the line. We're just, we're the team, but we're not financially invested in it like these guys are. And luckily they were able to postpone. They went through when we went through 2021. Okay, we're going to do it. Guess what? No, we still can't do it. So 2 years later, by the time we got back to Melbourne, we did all have this, oh shit, is it going to come off, or is it what's going to happen? Are we going to actually get through it? So when I stood on that stage for the first time in Melbourne with that mic in my hand, and I reckon there were a lot of the crew in there just waiting for me to say something like, we're open, this is it. Yeah. We're back, baby. and the crowd, everyone that was in there just went nuts. It was such a, you know, weight off all the cliches. It was a weight off our shoulders. It was just an incredible feeling.
That's it. And it was such a it was good, so positive bringing it back. And I must admit, that was my first Meatstock in Melbourne too, ever. So I didn't know what to expect at the same time, but at the same time, it was just so good to come back. Is, you know, that was like the only first festival after 2 years, or for any genre, you know. So it was really good. It was really, really good. And I must admit that it still sits as my favorite Meatstock so far, Melbourne. I don't know. I think it was purely because it was that first one back, and just seeing the amount of positivity, and then it just seems like that one where everyone met each other for the first time in person, but, you know, obviously comp teams and things like that. It was just so good to see. It was so good to see.
Yeah, and backstage with all the butchers, you know, like they were sort of back shaking hands, you know, miss you, brother. Yeah, guys from South Australia and Queensland. And it was great.
No, it's fantastic.
So yeah, Meatstock Toowoomba was my first one. So I sadly missed Melbourne because of COVID, so I missed out the first one. So for me, that's where my fond memories are. But again, that was the first one with the bull riding and the country music. And to me, that was that first night was, I think it was a small sort of gathering. That was amazing.
Oh, the awards night. Yeah.
On the Thursday night.
Yeah, because we came up the Thursday. I'm like, I've nenever been anywhere, didn't know anybody. We sat down on the table. Everyone was inviting and friendly. And then straight away, you know, people were winning awards around us. It was great, you know.
And see, a lot of people wouldn't know about that. So those, you know, the barbecue awards that the guys ran, like that was a really heavily industry-based, only invitational kind of event. But to rock up to that, and that was, you know, to not have to MC it was pretty cool. To just go there and be a guest and have a bit of dinner and have a couple of beers. That was really cool. But that was a really good way to start Toowoomba, and for you, Mark, to be there, you know, as your introduction, get to meet a whole bunch of people, and then all of a sudden, those bunches of people, you'll see them all day on the Saturday and Friday and Saturday.
I know, it was great. It's like you saw. I saw you last night. Congratulations on the great win. You know, it was great rub you had. You know, it was a really good sort of to know those things as well, because it was really good to be part of that and see. Again, there was a lot of people getting, you know, nominated awards for Australian, and like the rubs we're doing and the things we're doing here in Australia has really taken off, and just for them to get noticed has been really good as well.
Yeah, definitely. That was a really great night.
And Toowoomba for the first time, actually going to Queensland for the first time.
Queenslander!
Oh, yeah.
Queenslander!
So, I mean, what was that? I mean, obviously, it seems like you know, JON, Melbourne, Sydney, New Zealand, and then Queensland took a while to get into, and obviously it turned out really amazing. Great location too, Toowoomba. Just it's not your Brisbane sort of location sort of thing, but real country and real, just a different dynamic there. But why did you guys choose Toowoomba?
Predominantly because they wanted to do the awards night there, but also we were considering having a butchers conference in the week leading up as well. But Toowoomba is kind of that heartland. Like, there are more producers, more meat gets processed through Toowoomba, I believe, than any other. I'll probably be, someone will, you know, stat me wrong here, but if it's not the highest turnover, then it's close to the highest turnover of processing of meat in Australia, and having that as the heartland experience, that was really what the guys. Plus, the venue you mentioned, Reyan, was like, that's just not what, you know. Like, Sydney and Melbourne are fantastic; they've got beautiful big venues, but that whole thing with the spread out big fields, and you had to go right down there for the PBR, and you came back up for the strongman here. It was a really good venue, and Toowoomans, T-bar people, whatever they call themselves, they were really welcoming and really open and fantastic to deal with as well. So the venue was, and the country music was like, I've never really been a country music fan, but, you know, I'm starting to like Brad Cox a lot. The Wolf Brothers are kicking butt. You know, Casey Barnes is, you know, these are names that I never knew before. We got a shout out to Annette, who works in our office. She's the biggest country music fan you've ever met in your life. But she's introduced us to a lot of those people, you know, just listening to around the office. And it's it's a really different vibe. That country music feel is like, you know, Ariat and RM Williams shirts everywhere, baby.
Oh yeah, no, that's it. And it was funny. You mentioned Casey Barnes. We managed to do a quick interview with him there, and I remember driving from Brisbane to Toowoomba, and I'm like, Mark, we've got to listen to Casey Barnes. So Mark's listening to Casey Barnes for the first time on the drive to Toowoomba.
But I knew all the right questions to ask because I was an expert by the time we got there.
That new single, that's going real great.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. No, and you know, they were really lovely people. They're like the artists themselves were fantastic to deal with, and you know, really, really stoked to have been involved. And they've all put their hands up and said, you know, bring us back. We'll come back anytime. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
It was an amazing lineup, really. It just went so well, and the crowd just went nuts. Like it was. So you think after a long day, and they just kept going and going, and they came back the next day.
Yep, they did, and you know, kicked on as well. They had the Saturday night was a massive night for everybody. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out around the pits, it was,
everywhere.
Few lemonades.
Just a shandy for me, thanks.
Nice, right? Look, I guess we sort of you mentioned before, but I mean, you're part of the team with Shannon Walker, Jay Bowman, and Deborah Andridge. From pronouncing her name wrong, who put together the Butcher's Cookbook.
Deborah Hill now. She's gone back to her maiden name.
Cool, Deborah Hill.
But which makes it a lot easier. Deb Hill.
Yeah, much easier. So obviously this is the first one.
Yeah.
The Butcher's Cookbook, which I really love, and we got it signed a couple of times as well with a few butchers that we interviewed, which is great. But you know, what tell us how this came about. What drew you to this project?
I just happened to be in the office when it was literally, I'm not kidding, when I started working.
I'm in. So you put your hand up, did you?
Yeah, pretty much. I started working for Jay and the team, and he said, "Oh, by the way, we're starting to put this cookbook together. Can you give us a hand with that?" Yeah, sure. So I became the logistics manager, the proofreader, the like all the other stuff, and basically the collator of all the information, which I was then able to, you know, thanks to Shannon for finding all of that stuff, and then Deb put all the content together. She built all the stories, and I just sort of chased the butchers for all their content and made sure that they had everything they needed. Handed it all over to Jay in several big files and say, right, work your magic, layout and design. Brought in a guy named Joey who works for the design team up here as well, and he sort of did a bit of that work, the groundwork and getting it all ready. And it was just a matter of, you know, being in the right place at the right time. And then Shannon said, well, one book's not good enough. We need a second. We need a backup. So let's do the second edition.
Just like Shannon too.
So we're going to print 40,000 copies this time. Actually, 100,000 copies we're going to print this time.
More butchers than we have.
I hope you're watching, Shannon Walker. So we did. We put another one together, and we've literally just in the last couple of weeks, we just pressed the go button to the printers. It's over there now, getting done, and we'll have it back in September or thereabouts. Probably middle towards the middle or end of September. We're hoping we get them all back and distributed around the country. So keep an eye on your favorite. We'll find a way somehow to advertise exactly who's in the book, so you know where to go. But every
that'd be great.
That's in the book, we'll get 80 copies of the book. Sorry.
Excellent.
80 copies of the book. So they'll be for retail. They'll be here for retail sale. Come try the chicken. They'll be there for retail sale in probably October. I reckon they'll be ready to go. But awesome. Pre-orders available. So, and it's all over the country too, from WA to Tassie to Northern Queensland. It's literally everywhere.
We'll be jumping on that one because the other one just it's sold out so quick you just can't get a copy. So
Yeah, well, that's
Reyan
the
was very
thing.
lucky to have the one he's got.
We have actually decided to print a few extras this time. So if they do sell out, we should have some available in the Meatstock merch desks next year. And we probably might even put them up online on the Meat Lab our page as well. So yeah.
No, that's great. And look, it's. I just love the fact that the butchers have been celebrated in these. That's the, that's the best thing about it. I mean, great recipes, but obviously recipes from butchers and their stories are in there, and it's a great read. Like you just sit down and sort of flick through it. I guess I think Mark and I are very keen to work out. Is there any sneak peeks? Any butchers in Geelong maybe that might be in it that we might know?
Oh, Geelong. I think who would be the closest to you guys? No, probably more. Yeah, really, probably inner city Melbourne would be the closest to you guys. And there are quite a few Victorians. I think there's about a dozen Victorian butchers that are involved. I don't have it's at the office. Hang on, let me just look on this computer. No, I can't do that because I'm talking about it.
Hang on,
but yeah, there's
a soft copy there. All right, we get a sneak peek.
Yeah. Oh, here's what I ordered. This list of butchers in front of me. There's definitely going to be something that you'll be able to access. Maybe not in Geelong itself, but you get yourself up to the city. I'll get you a list. No, it's all right. I know people.
No, fantastic.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Now, so I've totally stolen Mark's questions here, so we're totally out of track at the moment with everything. But
that's how we do every show. It's not organised.
I know. I can't handle silence. That's
after he's had a beer.
Let me just. You know what? I'm just going to remove Mark from this. We'll just anyway. Now, Meatstock 2023. I mean, super excited. We've got dates locked in. I'll read them out because I've got it in front of me. So you've got Melbourne on the 18th and 19th of March, Toowoomba 14th to 15th of April, and Sydney 5th to the 7th of May. Thankfully, not on Mother's Day and not 2 week gaps between, which is great.
Close enough to Mother's Day. When is Mother's Day? I thought that was Mother's Day.
No, that's the first thing I did, mate. It's the first thing I did.
You know what? The only reason I can remember all the dates so well this year is because it's the 18th and 19th of March. My son's birthday's on the 19th. It's the 14th and 15th of April. My birthday's on the 13th. And then it's the 6th and 7th of May. And I thought that was Mother's Day, but it's
14th of May, Mother's Day.
Woo! Brownie points.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Oh, mate, I've got to make up points for last year. I mean, this year, sorry, I keep saying last year. But
I'm going to ask the tough question. Can I ask the tough question that everyone's asking? South Australia, are they ever going to get a Meatstock?
Well, we just have spent time looking at all sorts of venues all around the country. You can never say never. South Australia is like, I've been to Adelaide a couple of times, and I just love South Australia. I love the whole wineries and all that sort of stuff, the Barossa, McLaren and Coonawarra and everything. I just it's one of my favorite wine growing states, probably my absolute favorite, I would say. Plus the breweries and everything that are based down there and stuff. So it's, there's a lot of things that would bring us, but I'm not, I'm not the guy. I can make some suggestions. Maybe I know a couple of people, but there's nothing in the schedule at this stage. But hey, South Australia. Right.
There you go. You've heard it here first. It's written down. It's a dot point somewhere. You can thank us when it happens. All right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And Brad Parmacue has also asked any international Meatstocks next year. I guess we got New Zealand as a TBC or TBA.
It's still TBA at this stage. There have been some minor issues which I won't go into too much with the venue with ASB Showgrounds in New Zealand. Basically, they've been sold, and we're not sure whether we're able to hold festivals there anymore.
Right.
They may want to do other things, but there's talk of other within an hour and a half. There are other venues close by that could be utilised. I'm pretty sure they want to keep it on the North Island just for ease of access for a lot of things. but yeah, Auckland sadly doesn't look like it's going to get a jersey in 2023. But we're really, really hopeful that 24 will be back there. And you know, the Meatstock Auckland Facebook page gets hammered every day. When are you coming back? When are you coming back? We know they want us back, but it's the logistics are just not right at the moment.
No,
which is
all right. Look, I mean, which is sad. I'm super keen to get up there and have a look at. Apparently, the partying is different. I was speaking to Mick Kirkham, we actually jumped on as well, and he was sort of saying that he enjoyed the New Zealand crowd a lot. Just it's a different crowd there again, which is really good. And the music's different there as well.
If Toowoomba's country, New Zealand's R&B. It's just they're a different musical crowd. It's really cool. Really cool. And a little bit of a little bit of reggae.
And that's what I love about Meatstock. And I guess even though we're going state to state, like it just seems like 3 different states brought us different music and different vibe altogether. It was really interesting because you didn't get the same Meatstock, like fundamentally the same structure, but you just didn't get the same Meatstock in each state.
Which was the plan. We want to try and keep that so that each state has its own individual point of difference. It's if it was just a traveling roadshow, I don't think anybody would enjoy that.
No, that's absolutely. Any sneak peeks on any big names coming next year? Do we have any pitmasters that might be earmarked so far?
Yes, but I don't think I'm really allowed to say at this stage. Jay, we still, okay, cool. No, apparently we're not allowed to talk about that just yet. But
was he on the line the whole time?
No, he's not there. I'm a really good actor. I told you I did some acting. Back in the day.
You know what's funny?
What were you in?
That's actually you. You're on there. Look,
2 people said that you look like Mel Gibson, by the way.
What?
In your poster. Yeah.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah. There was a love child. There was a love child. I got to work out who the other actor was, but there was another actor that if they had a kid with Mel Gibson, it would be you. So I'll have to find out who that is.
Yeah, right. Okay. You know who I used to get a lot before I had this and I had darker hair was Simon O'Donnell, the cricketer. Man, I used to get that all the time. Oh wow, Simon. Oh, no, I'm not Simon O'Donnell. Anyway,
I got to see it. Oh yeah, no.
Nah, it's not there. No, I'd have to show you some really old photos.
No, it's
of me coming in from the northern end.
Wind behind your back.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, mate. Now, Steve, it's been really good to have you on, mate. And also, I just want to thank you for supporting Mark and I through the Meatstocks. Meet the Pitmasters as well. That was daunting in Melbourne, and then it just seemed to get easier by the time I got to Sydney.
You guys need to give yourself some credit there because you did a really good job. You took the bull by the horns, having not sort of been in that sort of scenario before, but you did a fantastic job, man. You've got a great voice, great personality. Mark, you had all the right questions. Like it was a really good team effort. I think you guys did. Give yourself some credit. Give yourselves a bit of a round of applause. Well done.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thanks. I still remember Melbourne. You were looking around and going like, yeah, there's this guy coming to do Meet the Pitmasters, and you're talking to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me, and he's like, oh okay, cool.
Oh right,
let's mic you up.
Because Jay didn't have the foresight to actually introduce us. Maybe that might have been a good idea.
Could have been handy. Before I let you go, I guess we got to ask. One thing we love about the vaping community is the social aspect and how many people and how we connect with different people. But who do you think we should follow or check out on the socials? Like who gives you inspiration?
Well, as far as actually cooking is concerned at the moment, like there's a couple of guys that we follow, and I'm just. Yeah, if you're not already, you might already see these guys. You might be on Instagram or follow them on Instagram. But Cheat Meats is absolutely amazing. He's doing really, really cool stuff. And Low and Slow Basics as well. They'd be probably
Aaron's doing great
my
job.
picks.
Yeah.
They're just 2 pages that just they're the drill worthy stuff. The just these most recent post with those beautiful big ribs that he sliced open, and oh man,
what about the pork belly lollipop?
Yes.
The cheap meat boys did.
Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah.
No, that was
Yeah,
great. And
so
I think that one went nuts on TikTok. That one did.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't have a TikTok account. I'm too old for that shit.
That's it. Steve, thanks so much for coming on, mate. Can't wait to see you. Hopefully catch up with you before next year, but if not, definitely see you at Meatstock Melbourne to kick off with, and looking forward to hopefully work with you in the future. And thanks so much for coming on.
Guys, get your asses up to Port Macquarie. Come and say hi. If we're in your part of the town or part of the world, we'll come and say hi as well. But thank you very much for having me. I'm really, really very much appreciate it. And it's been a pleasure to be involved. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Steve.
mate. See you later.
Cheers, boys.
See ya.
Cheers. Whoop.
Cheers. Okay.
All right, I kicked him out, which I'm not sure that was the plan, but
Felt wrong.
Felt wrong. I should have removed him from the stream, not kicked him out. Anyway, that's for next time. But look, mate, great first show. Good to have Steve. How awesome, Steve! And it was so good to work with him across all the meat stocks, wasn't it?
I know. Look, I think the fact that he was there was that sort of safety blanket for us as well. We had someone to go to who just sort of took us under his wing and gave us the direction we needed and helped us out. So even though he's sort of saying we did it all, really he helped us so much to make sure we knew what we were doing and who to talk to, and it made it really felt really easy for us, didn't it? Because we had that sort of support.
No, that's it, man. Look, I'm really looking forward to them. Like I said, the first thing I did was check all those dates. As soon as the Meatstock dates were announced,
I'm glad it's not Mother's Day again, because that was one was on the wife's birthday, then one was on Mother's Day. I had a great run.
No, that's it. I'm well and truly. Nothing crazy. So at least they're safe dates. But looking forward to Melbourne. Absolutely. I mean, 100% will be there at Melbourne. Now, I suppose got to ask you, mate. Who do you recommend we should check out on the socials?
Well, we haven't been around for a while, but one of my new locals, Wildfire Craft Barbecue, has just opened up a store. I've been sort of pretty much going there constantly. So if you haven't checked them out again in the Geelong area, check him out. Fantastic barbecue joint. Used to be down over his house. Now he's got a shop front. Get in there early. It does sell out. So, my suggestion is get there before 12. 11:30 is a good time to get there. Otherwise, you get there a bit late. It's all gone. He's doing fantastic stuff. And he just started doing pies, and that did me in as well, because I got my meat fix and I got my pie fix. So check him out. He's a very quirky stories as well, if you're into that. But the food's amazing. And what about you?
Okay.
Where are you at the moment?
Look, for me, it's Shane and Chloe from BBQ Asylum. So went there on Sunday for classes in Ballarat, which was great. They just basically threw a whole bunch of barbecue down and explained how they did it and fed the people in the crowd, which is great. And I left there so full, was not real, and by far one of the best burgers I've ever had. So they did a brisket burger where they minced the brisket in front of us and they smoked it and they made the burger. And it was bloody amazing. So Shane and Chloe did an amazing job, based out of the lane here in Victoria. So pretty much neighbours, but got to give them a shout out because that was fantastic, mate.
Great.
Looking forward to seeing them in action again, because they just do great barbecue. So Mark, who's on the show next? Actually not next week, but who's our next guest on the show?
We got Glenn from Cha 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 coming on next,
right.
So that's going to be a really good chat as well.
That's it, mate. So we will see you everyone in 2 weeks. So Glenn's on the 1st, I believe, at 8 p.m. So Glenn's coming on. We'll give us great insight into barbecue into butchering and barbecue and how the journeys went through, because he's in his shop's just amazing to visit, and it's just so good to see how busy and how sort of oh my gosh, lacking words, but anyway, good to see, mate. Good to be back.
That's why.
I know. I need a second beer. Huge thanks to our sponsors, the Rub Society and Brewery Cola, for coming on board, and we'll see everyone in a couple of weeks.
Fantastic. See you guys.
Catch you later. Bye.